Long way into this thing now, and I think we're starting to settle in on some directions. Tomorrow's a big day for a bunch of guys. It'll be our last full live scrimmage. We had a pretty good bit of live work today, but tomorrow will be the last live scrimmage, and so it'll be a really important day for some guys as far as how we're going to set that depth chart going into Monday. As we have two-a-day on Monday, but we're going to start probably flipping the script here pretty quick and start getting geared in to Auburn a little bit earlier than we did last year. But the biggest reason for that is just, again, we've got so many young players that are some of them, a lot of them have played, but just so many guys that we've got to really count on to perform at a high level in this opener. We're going to start a little bit earlier than we normally would. Last year we had a much more veteran front on both sides, and so we'll probably turn the script to Auburn on Monday at some point, and Tuesday, and they'll start school on Wednesday. But I like where we are right now. I think we're in a good spot. I think health-wise we're pretty good. Hopefully we can finish strong in that regard tomorrow. But still got a lot of work to do and a couple weeks to get it done.
Seen any separation at left guard or right tackle?
No, right. Beasley's been working with the ones the last couple days, and basically where we are right now is we're kind of zeroing in on he and Kalen and letting them really compete, for that starting spot, September 1. And then over at right tackle with Shaq Anthony, he's been taking most of the one reps the last couple days, since our last scrimmage, and he and Joe Gore are battling for that right tackle spot. So I anticipate that unless something drastic changes between now and next week, right now that's kind of where we're zeroed in, and really trying to get Norton to really be confident at the center position. Also still trying to keep his hand in at guard a little bit. But I like what I've seen from Beasley, and I like how Kalen has responded. I think he's trying. I think he had a little bit better today, and so we're just going to let those guys compete. And then same thing over at right tackle. I think Shaq took a step forward on Wednesday. Joe took a step back. And it's just kind of a competitive battle there, and that's just where we are right now. We've got to keep bringing them along, and as I said early on, the real early story of our team is going to be the performance of a lot of those sophomores, and in this case some redshirt freshmen as well, that are going to have to start and play some key roles for us.
What has David Beasley done to kind of separate himself?
Well, he's just been, fairly consistent performer. He's much more committed. He's a physical player, and he's done a good job from an assignment standpoint. He's just been productive. Bottom line, he's taken advantage of his reps and his opportunities. He did a pretty good job on Wednesday. Again, every day is a new day, and Kalen, really had an opportunity to be the guy and just didn't seize the moment. Certainly has got all the talent in the world, and we've seen him really play at a high level, but for whatever reason he just kind of took a step back. But you got to give David credit for that. But all you can do again is challenge a guy, and then they either respond or they don't. And I'm happy to see Kalen responding. And and then you got Shaq and Joe. These are two freshmen that neither one of them have played, and they don't even know what they don't know. But they're battling hard, and both of them I think want to be the guy. We'll run one of them out there, when this thing kicks off in a couple weeks.
What are the biggest areas of improvement you've maybe noticed out of Sammy? As good a year as he had last year, maybe what strides has he made during the sophomore year?
Well, just his overall knowledge of what we're doing. I mean, we've worked him at several positions. We've taken advantage of some kind of this situation that we have, and we've moved him and challenged him to rep at different places. I think that's been good for him. The big thing for him is he understands that he can impact the game more without the ball. Then obviously he can do it with the ball in his hands, but there's a lot of things that we saw on tape in our off-season study and that he saw where if he does a better job without the ball, he can impact. Maybe it's a will linebacker staying out of the box as opposed to falling in and making the tackle on the zone play, off of some type of Utah motion or something. So and there's just a lot of little things that he can clean up, and just being a consistent performer every single snap, whether he's got the ball in his hands or not. But he's got a great attitude, great work ethic, and he's really had an excellent camp.
Are you close to a decision with DJ Reader and Carlos Watkins? Will that be next week? As far as
it'll be next week. But I would say right now they're two really good freshmen that I think have shown up physically ready to compete, and they're strong. Both of them were well coached in high school, and they get it. I'd be surprised that if both those guys don't help us this year. But we haven't made any final decisions on that. And that's kind of where we'll be next week when we really sit down and say, okay. And there'll be a couple of guys that we might carry early just because of, all right, if this, then we got to have this guy ready. But and then at some point you just bite the bullet and you go with it. But we've talked about different scenarios, but we haven't finalized anything. But I'm pretty confident where we're sitting here right now with DJ and Carlos that they can help us.
Yeah, but with Sammy, how tough is it to kind of gauge his progress? Because he comes out here last year, starts doing incredible things on the practice field right away. That's probably become more commonplace to see him do that kind of stuff. Is it hard to really kind of see that he's making progress, or is he standing out too?
Oh no, it's not hard to see his progress. I mean, when it's what you do for a living as a coach, you see him every day, and we're never satisfied, and everybody has their own standard, that they can play to, and Sammy has been very consistent. I think he's had one day, and I really kind of challenged him at practice that day because he wasn't his best, and but he doesn't have many of those days. He likes to practice. He likes to compete. He's physical. It doesn't matter what drill you're going to. He's got his motor running. So, but that's what the great ones are like. They take the talent and they put all that other good stuff with it and become a superstar.
Was that strange that day, watching Sammy not be Sammy? What you gotten used to?
Yeah, because he had 3 drops, and he had a big drop in a 2-minute drill. I had a drop earlier in a team pass period. And, it was just a bad day for him, and it was an I don't get many opportunities to yell at him, so you got to take advantage of those opportunities when they present themselves. He's just one of those guys that is easy to coach because he just comes to work every day and he competes at a relentless level. That doesn't like to lose, and when he makes a mistake, he knows it, he admits it, and he's ready to go again. So just a great competitor.
So you really haven't seen suspension affect his focus at all?
No, not at all. If anything, I think it's pushed him harder, and he's really a leader for us. He's not like last year. He was in a shell, but he was just kind of a reserved guy, quiet. Not always assertive. But now he's much more assertive, and I think understands that he has a chance to be a leader. He'll speak, and he'll challenge guys. I think that whole situation just helped him become better.
Have you settled on where his reps those first couple of games are going to go as far as the receivers stepping up in the spot?
All of them have I think all of them are going to have to fill that void as far as production. But as far as his position, Adam Humphries has played that. Sharon Peak is another guy that will probably, those two guys primarily will probably fill that particular position as far as depth chart wise. Jerron Brown and Nuke Hopkins obviously are going to have to step up and from a production standpoint. But right now going into it would be Sharon and Adam as far as just his particular role.
You talk about what they both bring to the position. Obviously, 2 different-looking guys physically as far as what they bring to the table.
Well, both of them can run. Both of them are really smart. It's a position that Sharon has not played. He's been mostly what we call our 5 and 9 man position. not had a lot of work at 2. But he's working. He's been working that pretty extensively here the last week or so. You know, really training up. You know, trying to get him ready for the opener at that spot. He and Adam, and then you know, but they're both good runners with the ball, and you know, both can play to the field. Both can play into the boundary. Both are physical. Definitely different guys, but equally productive.
So is it safe to say, based on those 2 guys doing those reps and offer, likely redshirt, or is that?
Hadn't made a decision on that. Either he's one of those guys right now that I think we got to keep getting ready, and at some point we got to make that decision, but not today. I think he could help us, and but you know, again, a lot of it just depends on. I don't, you know, we don't want to just play him because Sammy's out for the first 2 games. If we're going to play him, it's because he's going to play all year, and so you know, those are things we got to, you know, really sit down and look at as a staff. But I'm really proud of how he's worked. I love his effort, his attitude. He's got a lot of confidence, and he's a very competitive young guy too. So, you know, we'll make that decision here at some point in the near future.
You know, last year it didn't take long for you to realize that Sammy's going to play right away. There's not a guy in this freshman class who could say that about this one, is there?
Well, if you just had to pin me down, I would probably say DJ Reader. You know, might shock you for me to say that, but he reminds me of Sammy in a lot of ways. Different position, but he reminds me of Sammy in his how serious he is about it, how competitive he is about it, how technically sound he is, how quick he's picked up a system. You know, those are things that Sammy. That's what separated him last year. You know, a lot of talented guys, but most freshmen you know, don't put it together like that. And DJ Reader is one that I think has really shocked me. You know, Blanks, you could make a case for him, but Blanks was here all spring. You know, a little different deal. You know, Reader just got here a few weeks ago, and like I said, most of those guys just true freshmen. There's a real transition, but you know, the way he plays the game, his pad level, his physicality, his football intelligence, his effort, and when he finishes plays, and I'm really impressed. And Carlos too, but DJ is just way further along than I thought he would be at this point.